Hey guys, Boston Ramos, and today's the day. A lot of NFL fans are rejoicing and finally getting to see their schedules come out. We're going to get to that in a minute, but it's been quite the offseason. Big free agency, big draft, and now finally the schedules come out. And interesting to see what other teams did for their stuff. But we're going to take a look at the Miami Dolphins one right now. So let's go for this ride.
Finally, it's done.
Let's do this.
Let's watch it.
NFL's fastest.
It's perfect.
All right. I get the jokes, but it's horrible to try to watch. Honestly, if I had to be a judge in terms of who, may have been the best video to come out for the schedule release. But yeah, the Dolphins were trying to make a joke there, saying like they are the fastest NFL team. So I get the joke, but man, oh man, was that hard to see. I'll play it back one more time for you guys to see. It's I don't know if we can say it's the best one. I do like that it's not, over a minute and a half long. I'll say that. On top of that, they also came out with like a screenshot, like a poster type of vibe on that one. So we'll run through it real quick, and then we'll talk about what the Dolphins could look like in 2024. All right, so to kick it off, some of these throughout the day had been starting to get leaked, and shout out to Big E. Your reports and leaks were pretty on point. So week 1, we have September 8th, 1 p.m. against the Jacksonville Jaguars. That is at home, followed by a week 2 Thursday night football matchup against the Buffalo Bills, September 12th at 8:15 p.m. Week 3, travel to Seattle, longest trip in the entire NFL. Week 3 to Seattle, September 22nd, 4:05 p.m. kickoff. All these times are Eastern Standard Time, by the way. Then followed up with a rematch of the Monday Night Football blunder that happened this past season against the Tennessee Titans, September 30th at 7:30 p.m. So far, first 4 games, the schedule makers not really doing the Dolphins a home field advantage favor here. Week 1 against the Jacksonville Jaguars, another Florida team. They're kind of adjusted to this weather. A night game against the Buffalo Bills. Travel, the longest trip you can do within normal NFL standards, and then follow it up with another night home game. I love the night home games, just not necessarily the early on in the season. All right, we're going to keep it pushing. So week 5 on the road against the New England Patriots on October 6th, 1 p.m. kickoff. Then followed up with an early bye week, week 6, pretty early bye week for the Miami Dolphins, but it's a tough stretch of travel, and I'm not a huge fan of that early bye week. All right, continuing on, week 7, we have October 20th, 1 p.m. matchup in Indianapolis against the Colts. Week 8, at home against the Arizona Cardinals at 1 p.m. On October 27th. And then we have week 9 at Buffalo, November 3rd, 1 p.m. And then followed up with Monday Night Football in week 10 against the Los Angeles Rams. This one's on the road on November 11th, 8:15 kickoff. Really looking forward to that game. Birthday weekend, so let's see if I end up going for that one. Followed up with week 11, November 17th at 1 p.m. against the Las Vegas Raiders. Followed with week 12 at home versus the New England Patriots at November 24th, 1 p.m. kickoff. Then week 13 against the Green Bay Packers, November 28th, 8:20 kickoff. It is the Thanksgiving game, so the primetime Thanksgiving game. So it's cool to see Dolphins, getting a lot of primetime games so far. Through 13 weeks, they already have 4 primetime games, and there's one more confirmed on the slate. Week 14, I knew they were going to do this with us, the Jets. Haven't mentioned the Jets at all. We finally faced them in week 14, December 8th at 1 p.m., and that one is the home game. Week 15 on the road again, December 15th, 1 p.m. against the Houston Texans. Week 16 at home December 22nd versus the San Francisco 49ers. Tough game to close off the home stretch. And then week 17, Sunday Night Football in Cleveland, December 29th at 8:20 p.m. And then week 18 on the road in New York and East Rutherford, New Jersey against the New York Jets. TBD. Week 18, well, last week of the season is always going to be a TBD game. So first initial thoughts of the schedule, I don't think they're doing us too many favors. We don't have our second home day game until October 27th. So home field advantage is not in effect in terms for the Dolphins with it being super hot, etc. The opposing team being in the sun. So literally the first 4 home games, half of them are nighttime games. It's still going to be hot. It's still going to be humid. It's still going to be muggy. But at the end of the day, as a Dolphins fan, even though I don't like it so much being in the sun and getting beat down by that, it's definitely an advantage for the Dolphins team and definitely a crippling effect to the opposing teams. Let's see. Let's look around more. The schedule is kind of on and off a lot. Like, they'll be home. They're home for the first 2 weeks. On the road, at home, on the road, bye week. On the road, home, on the road again. Home, on the road, home, on the road, home, away. So it is what it is. Dolphins do have 8 home games and 9 away games. All in all, I think this is an interesting schedule. I would say those first 4 games are going to be a very tough stretch, so I can understand why the Dolphins are having a week 6 bye week. You have a Jaguars team that didn't live up to expectations last year, expecting a big bounce back. Our biggest divisional rival at this moment in the Buffalo Bills, a long road trip against the Seattle Seahawks, and then redemption game against Tennessee Titans, who I think is going to be a little more interesting. But they also lost Derrick Henry in the offseason. Week 5, I'm not saying it's a cupcake game, but it's a New England Patriots with possibly a rookie quarterback. It's going to be a cupcake game. Bye week, facing a young and up-and-coming Colts team off the bye. An interesting team. Not really sure what we're going to get with them and the Arizona Cardinals, so that's a wild card team. Another gritty matchup against the Buffalo Bills. I like that they don't put us against them so late in the season in Buffalo, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of that. Los Angeles Rams, depending on their health, they could either be really good or kind of mediocre, middle-of-the-pack team. Las Vegas Raiders, they're going to give us their all. But last time they came down to Miami, the Dolphins showed them the business. Patriots again. And then on the road, Thanksgiving in Green Bay and Lambeau Field. It's going to be tough. It's not going to be freezing, but it will be a little bit chilly. Let's see how Tua does in the cold weather, guys. At home against the Jets late in the season. And the road at Houston, the young and up-and-coming team. It should be interesting. Same goes for the Green Bay Packers. At home versus 49ers. This is a very tough schedule. At home versus 49ers. On the road to close out Week 17 against the Cleveland Browns. And then on the road against the Jets. And depending on if Aaron Rodgers can play more than 4 snaps this year, that should be an interesting matchup as well. Really, not a huge fan of this schedule. But I think the Dolphins could, if everything goes right, and you'll see why I say that, they can head into the bye 5-0. If anything, you have a hiccup between the Buffalo Bills or you have a hiccup against the Seattle Seahawks. You cannot afford to lose against the Jaguars, Titans, or Patriots. The Seahawks are a pretty formidable team. They just didn't have the best of luck and couldn't really do much last season. And then the Bills are the Bills. You already know what you're going to get with the Bills. They do have a revamped offense. Khalil Shakir is like the only wide receiver who caught a touchdown from Josh Allen that was on the roster going into the season. So it's something to look forward to, how their new receiving core is. Young and up-and-coming teams in the Colts and Cardinals. I think the Dolphins should win those games, but they may split that. So right now we're looking about 7-0 at best, if not what I would consider worst is 5-2 going into Buffalo. if you lose to Buffalo, you got to beat them at their home. You got to, because otherwise they're always going to son the Dolphins and little brother them. So I think they might split this series between the Bills and the Dolphins. They might split their season series. So you can just chalk up one of those games as a loss. I would hope that the one in Buffalo would be a little bit more leaning towards a loss, not the one at home. Rams, I really feel like that it's a toss-up game. I do give the Dolphins the clearance there, but it really depends on that team's health and just kind of how their defense is slated and how we're doing at that point in the season. Week 10, it's an interesting start of the season. Just things are either very high for certain teams or things are very low. I think Dolphins are going to be pretty high. Then back at home against the Raiders. That one, I think the Dolphins should handle that one, but it's going to be a grit and grind game. Patriots, I think the Dolphins are going to sweep the Patriots this year. So right now, through 12 weeks and 11 games, you're looking at the Dolphins possibly being, looking at them being 9-2, if not maybe 7-4 at worst, which I don't think 7-4 is bad, but I don't think it's great. You don't want to have 4 losses that early. Green Bay, 50-50 game. Let's see, Jets. I think the Dolphins should beat the Jets, but we really need to see how they are actually with Aaron Rodgers. So no gimmies there. Same thing with this Houston Texans team. At Houston, it's going to be tough. They're a young and up-and-coming team, and I think with the addition of Stephon Diggs, that receiving core could really do some damage. 49ers, there's a lot of turmoil within there. Let's see how they are going into the season, if they're going to still have Ayuk and Deebo Samuel in their receiving core, but another toss-up game. I think the Dolphins should handle the Cleveland Browns, but we haven't yet to see a full entire season with Deshaun Watson at the helm. But I don't think their overall receiving core is enough to really cause havoc with this Dolphins defense. But let's see. Nick Chubb coming back. Let's see if they're grounding and pounding or if they're putting it all on Deshaun Watson. It's going to be late in the year. It's literally a couple days before New Year's Eve, so that one should be interesting. If Aaron Rodgers is really good and Jets are firing off all cylinders, the Jets are going to split the series with the Dolphins. And in true Jets fashion, we're going to split it that the Jets will beat the Dolphins at home and the Dolphins will beat the Jets at home. And hopefully by that point, it's either for the division or, there's some type of playoff implication, division implication on that Week 18 game like it was this past season with the Buffalo Bills. So with 17 games, I have the Dolphins at best going 13-3. No, my bad. 13-4, and at worst, they're 10-7, and possibly not even making the playoffs. This is a very tough schedule, and even though I say all that, I don't think the Dolphins have the greatest strength of schedule. So according to win percentages, etc., the Dolphins have the 24th toughest strength of schedule. And if you're telling me what I just reiterated is a 24th toughest schedule, then, man, I want to see the number 1 strength of schedule because, man, I hold the Jaguars in a high regard. Bills are just no slouch. Seahawks are interesting. I would give them the Patriots and the Titans. Maybe the Cardinals, they could be a 50-50 type of team. Same thing with the Raiders. I would give you the Patriots. But every other team that the Dolphins face, the Bills, the Packers, the Jets, the Texans, the 49ers, the Browns, I mean, those are serious contending teams. I think those are people that are going to give Dolphins some trouble. So, very interesting. Best of the best they could do is, I think, 13-4, and then the worst possible scenario, it could be 10-7, and that's worst possible scenarios being that they just aren't winning the games they're supposed to be winning, etc. No, nothing barring injuries, stuff like that. More so just strictly ball. So it's a very interesting thing that's going on here for the Dolphins, but I like the schedule. It's going to be something that's going to be interesting and somewhat challenging, so we'll just have to wait and see. Very quickly, I'm going to go through some of these teams' schedule releases. I might put them up here with me, but for example, like the Chargers always try to do something funny. They did like a, I'm going to turn off the audio here, but they did like a Sims related thing. I find that kind of cringe. Not a fan. 49ers. They did like a lot of like sketch art type of stuff. Let's see what they did for the Dolphins game. They did like a Miami Vice type of thing. That's interesting to see. Let me just lower the volume on the computer. The Lions got Tim Robinson on there. They were like doing like a little bits and stuff like that. Interesting release there by the Lions. The Raiders looks more like a hype thing. Not really. I'm not going to go through it too much. I'm just skimming through half of these. The Chiefs did a press. So they're pressing things that could be related to their opponents. Like the Bills, they're crushing like buffalo wings. That's very funny. Would have loved to see what they would have done for facing the Dolphins. The Bills just recorded Josh Allen like at a construction site. Not too sure what's going on there. Bears did like a school theme with Spice Adams, and then they just kind of did like touring the city. Titans did the same thing again. Let's see what they said about the Dolphins. Anything that's facing the Dolphins, they just redid what they had. Okay. Alex Earl's boyfriend's team. Okay, that's pretty funny. Oh, man. Falcons. Looks like they went like to like the 2K park. Like, I don't know. Like, they got this straight out of freaking Fortnite or whatever. I don't know. Hey. The Ravens got Stavros to freaking do his thing with him. Oh my god, he's the unofficial mascot of the Baltimore Ravens. That's hilarious. Jets. What is... okay, I don't get really what the Jets did there with no context, really. Tampa Bay Buccaneers got some art and some legends in there, some current players. That's pretty cool. They did like some stand-up comedy for the Steelers. Sorry if this may be boring. Not really sure what the Saints are doing here. They're like on Zoom interviewing candidates or whatever. Kind of weird. Terry McLaurin. So they're doing cake or not cake, and they're showing the opponents. Yeah, that's very creative, I guess. So. Patriots got Jules and Gronk in there. Good Jules hunting. They're just like recreating a bunch of Boston movies. Didn't really see anything about their schedules in there, but whatever. LA did something kind of cool. Let's see what they did for their Dolphins game. They went into Los Santos Customs. Week 13 versus Miami. No, what week was it? Oh, week 10. Okay, they go into Los Santos Customs when they go to against the Dolphins. Okay, that's kind of cool. Sure, whatever. That's alrighty. Yeah, those are some of the ones that I've seen NFL post on their Twitter. I'm not going to go through every team's page. Just try to make my life a lot easier here. Let's see what's been posted since I started looking at this. All right. We got the Texans. They're crushing things, very similar to the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's see what they did for the Dolphins. They're squeezing. That doesn't even look like an orange. It looks like a lemon. Like, are they squeezing an orange? No, that looks like a lemon. Yeah, they're squeezing it. Do you even know what you're doing there? Oh, gosh. All right. These people think they're going to crush their opponents. That's very funny of them. Bengals, I'm going to call Child Protective Services on them, and I don't know what they're doing there. They have like a bunch of like peewee kids, and they're like putting up like fake scores. Panthers did some art for theirs. That's pretty interesting. Let's see the Green Bay Packers.
I'd like to recite
They did
Brett Favre's line from
like a
There's
sketch.
Something About Mary. Here we go.
Let's see.
I'm in town to play the Dolphins.
What did they do for the Thanksgiving game?
I thought it was great.
They just did like a little sketch. Alright. They were doing like interviews with like a sketch or something. Anyways, yeah, that was the schedule release. Let me know what you guys think of the Miami Dolphins schedule. And not only that, just other teams' schedule. Who do you think has one of the more interesting schedules? I think the Dolphins schedule is pretty interesting. I may be biased. I've only really looked at their schedule. So definitely a lot of bias there. Last but not least, the preseason schedule. We have October 9th is a home game against the Atlanta Falcons. Pretty much an annual thing at this point, playing against the Atlanta Falcons. And then week 2 against the Washington Commanders. That is also a home game on August 17th. And then they close it out on the road versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, October 23rd. Pretty much at this point, Dolphins always play the Falcons and one Florida team, whether it's the Jaguars or the Buccaneers. They're already playing the Jaguars week 1, so pretty much plug in the Buccaneers there. Pretty much that's a lock. Aside from that, yeah, Washington Commanders. Interesting season by the Dolphins. We're going to do it one more time, now with the preseason involved. Week 1 of the preseason, August 9th, 7 p.m. against the Atlanta Falcons. Week 2 of the preseason, Well, that's a wrap on the schedule release for the Miami Dolphins, among other teams as well. But I'm pretty excited for the Dolphins' schedule to come out. I think they do have a pretty difficult schedule. The travel and all that stuff, I think, will play into account here. I don't like that they have limited home games during like the early on in the season. Like week 1 and week 8 are their only home afternoon games, like 1 p.m. kickoffs. Like, they're not doing the Dolphins a home field advantage favor. Let's hope the fans bring the juice and the energy and really make the opposing teams, feel unwelcomed. Don't make them, hate their lives, but definitely make them feel like, hey, like the Dolphins have true fans in the stands. But yeah, lots and lots of road games, 9 road games, 5 primetime games, which is awesome to see. Love to see the Dolphins on primetime. We got Thursday Night Football week 2, week 4, Monday Night Football at home, both of these home games. Then the next primetime game is week 10, Monday Night Football. Week 13, Thanksgiving, that's going to be the NBC game. And then last but not least, Sunday Night Football again for the week 17 game on the road at Cleveland. Who knows? I think the week 15 and week 16 games have a high possibility of getting flexed into the primetime slot. I think Dolphins and Texans might be 2 teams that are in contention, and they might want to put a spotlight on the game depending on who has that slate. Week 16, same thing goes on for that one. I think both of those teams are going to be fighting one for the divisions, top seeds in the entire NFL. I think that game, Dolphins San Fran, is going to be interesting to see. I don't know if they'll flex it to Sunday night, especially since the Dolphins will be on Sunday night the week after. And then we'll just have to wait and see what the verdict is on that last Jets game. All in all, interesting. Dolphins schedule release. The video itself is pretty interesting. 22 seconds is how fast it is. They are the fastest team in the NFL for a reason. But let me know what you guys thought. I'm excited. I can't wait. Already starting to plan things for the fall because that's what a big football fan like myself does. I look forward to this day, getting schedules and seeing like a game like the Los Angeles Rams Monday Night Football game. Like that's around my birthday. I would want to travel to LA to possibly see the Dolphins play around my birthday. That would be fun. Green Bay on Thanksgiving will be a stretch, but I'm interested in possibly that one. There's certain things here and there that pique my interest, but those are some of the ones that really catch my eye. Maybe the Houston game, if it gets close to getting flex, I would be even more down to go. But those are things we're just going to have to wait and see, the flexing. But all in all, 5-time primetime games for the Dolphins is big time. Let's hope the Dolphins don't squander their moments on the national stage. But that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.